All right, so are you ready to dive into some ancient culinary customs?
I am ready.
Today, we're exploring the world of grain offerings. As described in the book of Leviticus chapter 2.
Yes.
Leviticus, it's a book from the Hebrew Bible
Right.
that outlines instructions and laws, including rituals and offerings.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to unpack, in our deep dive here,
Yeah.
what these offerings were, how they were prepared,
Right.
and what they might reveal about the beliefs and practices of the time.
Absolutely.
Get ready for some surprisingly specific instructions, like
Yeah.
we're talking different types of flour, cooking methods.
Oh, I love that.
Even the importance of salt.
Oh, it's so interesting.
What makes these ancient grain offerings so fascinating to you?
Well, I think for me, it's a level of detail, like you're saying. It's so specific.
Right.
And the fact that these offerings weren't just a simple act of giving grain, like, here's some grain.
Right.
Leviticus chapter 2 outlines this whole spectrum of offerings.
Okay.
From basic flour mixtures to, like, intricately prepared baked loaves and even roasted kernels. It makes you wonder...
Yeah.
Why such variety?
Exactly. It's like they had a whole grain-based menu for different occasions.
Right.
So what kind of occasions are we talking about?
Oh, that's a good question.
Like what might have prompted someone to offer a simple handful of flour versus, say, a beautifully crafted loaf of bread?
I mean, that's where I think we can start to see the social and economic layers woven into these rituals.
Interesting.
A simple flour mixture might have been like the everyday offering, something accessible to everyone.
Right.
Imagine like a farmer offering a portion of their daily harvest as just a gesture of gratitude.
Yeah.
On the other hand, a baked loaf, requires more time, more resources.
More effort.
Might have been reserved for, special occasions, festivals, celebrations.
Oh, okay.
Or even times of seeking special favor.
Interesting. So it's kind of like choosing a dish to bring to a potluck.
Totally.
You consider the occasion.
Yeah.
And what you can contribute.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's not just about the grain itself.
Right.
But the effort and resources involved.
Yeah.
And speaking of ingredients,
yes,
almost every offering mentions olive oil and frankincense.
Right.
Now, I know these were valuable commodities back then.
Very valuable.
But I'm guessing they weren't just thrown in for flavor, right?
Absolutely not, no. These ingredients added this deeper layer of symbolism.
Okay.
Take olive oil, for instance. It wasn't just a cooking ingredient.
Right.
It was used in rituals of anointing kings and priests, right?
Yeah.
A symbol of purity, conduit for divine blessing.
Oh, wow.
Imagine being anointed with oil, feeling that sense of sacredness and connection to something greater.
Wow, I hadn't thought about it that way.
Yeah.
So even something as simple as olive oil could have held such powerful meaning.
Absolutely.
And what about frankincense? What role did it play?
So frankincense was all about connecting with the divine through scentin.
Interesting.
Its rich aroma, released through burning, was seen as a fragrant offering pleasing to God.
Okay.
It's fascinating how they engaged multiple senses in these rituals, creating this more immersive experience.
It's like they were crafting an experience.
Yes.
Not just going through the motions.
Exactly.
Now, once these offerings were prepared, what happened to them?
Oh, good question.
People just eat them?
That's where the ritual takes an interesting turn.
Okay.
A portion of each offering, called the memorial portion, was burned on the altar.
Okay.
It's described as this way to symbolically share the offering with God.
Okay.
Imagine the smoke, carrying the essence of the gift upward. This fragrant message reaching the heavens.
I like that imagery, a message rising to the heavens.
Yeah.
It definitely adds a layer of mystique to the whole process.
Right.
So a portion was burned. And what about the rest?
The remaining portion went to the priests.
Okay.
And this highlights, the crucial role they played as intermediaries between the people and God.
Okay.
They ensured that the offerings were prepared correctly.
Right.
And conducted the rituals according to tradition.
Yeah.
And remember, in this society, priests weren't just religious figures.
Right.
They were community leaders, teachers, keepers of knowledge.
Oh, okay.
So receiving a portion of the offering was also a way of acknowledging their important role in the community.
That makes sense.
Yeah?
Now, you know me.
Uh-oh.
I always get caught up on the little details.
I know you do.
And there's this one detail about yeast and honey that really struck me.
Okay.
Apparently leavened bread and honey were specifically prohibited.
Yes.
From being burned on the altar.
That's right.
What was that all about?
It is interesting, isn't it?
It is.
There are a few theories about this.
Go.
One thought is that fermentation.
Yeah.
The process that makes bread rise, right, was seen as a form of corruption.
Oh.
Or decay.
Okay.
Something undesirable in a sacred offering.
Interesting.
Another possibility is that honey,
being
this precious and natural sweetener,
right,
was considered too valuable to be entirely consumed by fire.
Oh, okay.
It could be offered as a first fruits offering, acknowledging God's bounty,
right,
but not burned completely.
I'm kind of surprised they wouldn't want to offer their most prized possessions.
Yeah, it is interesting.
But I guess it highlights the idea that these offerings were about more than just material value, right?
Totally.
You know, there's this whole system of symbolism and meaning behind it. It's a reminder that even the smallest details had significance.
Yes.
And speaking of details, there's one ingredient that stands out. Salt.
Yes, salt.
It was mandatory.
That's right.
For every single offering, linking it.
Yeah.
The covenant with God.
Right.
What do you think was the significance of salt in this context?
Oh, that's such a good question.
I mean, honestly, when I think of salt, I think of flavor.
Right, of course.
But I'm guessing there's a deeper layer to it.
Deeper meaning.
Especially when we're talking about ancient cultures.
Absolutely. In many ancient cultures, salt was more than just a seasoning.
Right.
It was this powerful symbol. Its ability to preserve food made it a symbol of purity and enduring bonds.
Oh, interesting.
Think about it. Yeah. Salt prevents decay.
Right.
It makes things last longer.
Right.
So including it in every offering emphasizes this unbreakable bond between the Israelites and God, this everlasting nature of their covenant.
So it's like saying this relationship, this agreement, is as strong and enduring as salt itself.
Exactly.
That's pretty powerful imagery.
It is.
It is.
Powerful stuff.
So these offerings, with all their intricate details and symbolism, provide a fascinating glimpse into the beliefs and practices of the time. Yeah. They weren't just about fulfilling a religious obligation.
Right.
They were about communication.
Yes.
Connection. And expressing devotion through everyday actions.
That's right.
It's amazing how something as seemingly simple as offering grain could be so layered with meaning.
So much meaning.
And it makes you wonder what everyday actions or rituals in our own lives hold deeper meaning.
Absolutely.
What connects us to something larger than ourselves.
Oh, I love that.
That's something to ponder. You know, as we wrap up our deep dive into the world of grain offerings.
It's fascinating stuff.
Fascinating stuff.
I love it.
I love it too.
Great deep dive today.
Thanks.
Yeah.
All right. We'll talk to you next time.
All right. See ya.